Knowing where your enemies are is vital to winning more games in World of Tanks Blitz. And to know where they are, you need to spot them. Or you should have some teammates to do that job for you. Today we are going to talk about spotting in World of Tanks Blitz. The light bulb. The sign you've been spotted by one of your enemies. The sign to get into cover as soon as possible before they start shooting you. The little ping. That's the sign your team has spotted red tanks. Time to load up, aim in and wreak havoc. For every player in World of Tanks Blitz, it is vital to know how spotting and visibility work. So let's start with the basics and break it down into a few simple key components. There are two individual features that at the same time are inseparable: view range and concealment. We'll talk about view range first. The best players in the game have been using view range to its full advantage to win games. And in real life, military forces rely a lot on solid intelligence, and tankers in Blitz should do no different. If you can outsmart your opponent, know their positions and shoot them without getting shot back, well, who wouldn't like that? Here's where view range becomes important. Each tank in-game has 7 visibility checkpoints and 2 view range ports. The 2 view range ports emit virtual vision rays. If one of these rays meets the visibility checkpoint of a red tank, the enemy armor is spotted and shown on the minimap. That's the basic and simple theory. But Blitz wouldn't be Blitz if there wasn't a lot more to discover. To be able to fully exploit the visibility and spotting system, you need to know a few more details. And that's what I'm going to give you right now. Have a quick look at the model of the WZ121 here. That looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Fuel barrel at the back, machine gun, little brackets on the turret. But the visibility system does not care about fancy stuff. Even the gun barrel itself is not considered in the spotting mechanics. Imagine your favorite tank in World of Tanks Blitz as a box. The first visibility checkpoint is at the center of the box roof. 2 more checkpoints are at the front and the rear of the hull and at both sides of the vehicle. The 6th checkpoint is on the gun mantlet and it aligns with the 7th one. So that means if you turn your turret, 1 point moves with the gun mantlet while the other one stays in place. The visibility checkpoints on the turret roof and the gun mantlet also act as view range ports. As mentioned, it's pretty simple at first, but there are a lot of nuances on how you use this knowledge to maximum effect. So if you want to learn how to use the visibility system in combat, don't forget to keep watching the video. We've all been there. You're in a light or a medium tank, and your team is asking you to go out and spot. You go into position, peek over the ridge, and hey presto, there's the enemy team. If you dive in too aggressively, chances are you will get hit severely. And here's another common mistake made when trying to spot enemy tanks. Can you guess what went wrong here? Correct. This tank drove out of cover, exposing his visibility checkpoint at the front of his tank while the viewport was still behind cover. That means he got spotted before he was able to spot the enemy. A better way to try and spot the enemy is to do it like this. Turn your turret facing forward, peek out to expose your gun mounted viewport and pull back into cover. There's no need for you to shoot the reds. Successful tankers spot enemy tanks to allow their teammates to obliterate the enemy. Or take a look at this. It's pretty much the same move as done before, but with less of your own tank shown. There's no need to expose your entire tank to spot. All you need to do is make sure one of your view range ports has a direct line to one of the visibility checkpoints of enemy tanks, and Bob's your uncle. Now that we have the basics covered on the visibility and view ports, let's look at the view range. Every tank in World of Tanks Blitz has a maximum view range at which he could potentially see enemy tanks. Think of the view range as a circle around your tank. The bigger the view range, the larger the circle will be. Red tanks in your view range circle will get spotted if one of your vision rays meets one of their visibility checkpoints. Small pro tip here, try to memorize the basic view range of the tanks in the game. There's no need to know them all by heart, but the average for the tier comes in really handy. Now go to your settings menu, switch on the rangefinder so you can use that to check at what range you could potentially see enemy tanks. There are several ways to improve your view range. The easiest way is to upgrade the turret on your tank. That will give you a better view range. But there are more options. You can train your crew to 100% so they know how to maximize their tank in combat. It is also possible to mount improved optics, which gives heavy tanks a 7% increase in view range, light and medium tanks get 10% increase, and tank destroyers get a 5% increase. Players who have researched vehicles in tier 5 and up can use provisions for an increase in view range as well. All in all, the improvement in view range can be as much as 100 meters. That can be the difference between a win and a defeat. Oh, and one more thing. You might not want to let it come to you being the last man standing, but if you are, your crew will get a slight increase in view range as well. Remember how we started the video? There are two individual yet inseparable components in the visibility system: view range and concealment. Enemy tanks that are in your view range circle are not always spotted. That's because of their concealment value, and I'll now explain all you need to know about this. Staying hidden from the enemy is a vital skill to survive longer on the battlefield. It is of course possible to sit in the back of the map or behind a house, but that's not really cool to do. So what tricks are the best players using to make concealment their best friend? Again, I'll start at the basics. Every vehicle in World of Tanks Blitz has a camouflage rating. This inherent camouflage will dictate when a tank is spotted if it drives into the view range circle of an enemy. The camo rating is changed when the vehicle moves and it's completely gone when it fires. No rocket science here, all very logical. Different vehicles have different camo rating too. An E100 is a big tier 10 German heavy tank, so it comes as no surprise that it has a far worse camo rating than the French Batchat. And speaking of light tanks, these have a special bonus as they don't lose their camo rating while they are on the move. It does take about 10 seconds to reset your camo rating to the highest possible value if you are sitting in open terrain. And to be fair, that's not the best tactic in the book. So let's check out some ways to improve your concealment. The easiest one is to use the terrain. Any house, hill or hump can be used to hide your visibility checkpoints. Try to drive while hugging the sides of rocks so you have cover if you do get spotted. And here's another quick pro tip. The light bulb only shows 3 seconds after you are spotted. So as soon as you think you might be spotted by a red tank, get into cover. Your crew will be very grateful. Especially the commander, since he's the key crew member for view range. A dead or wounded commander reduces view range dramatically and you will never be able to outspot any enemy tank. Back to concealment. Have you noticed the little bushes dotted around the maps in World of Tanks Blitz? They look fancy, but they're not just decoration. They have been placed there for a reason. Bushes help enhance the camo rating of your vehicle. Stay behind them to keep the visibility checkpoints hidden. The best way to do this is drive into a bush, stop and reverse until it becomes slightly translucent. That gives the best balance between spotting and concealment. Remember, don't fire your gun as it will drop your camo rating. But there is a way to fire without getting spotted. Again, drive into the bush, spot a tank and then reverse until only an outline of the enemy tank remains. The bushes will soak up the blast from the gun and you will not get spotted. 2 other ways to improve the camouflage rating on your tank are to use camouflage paint or camouflage net. The first one, the paint, they also make your tank look really cool or eccentric or just plain ugly, so that's an easy choice. Heavies get a 2% bonus from paint, light and medium tanks get a 3% bonus, and tank destroyers get a 4% bonus. You can also mount a camouflage net. Bonuses for adding this to your tank are 3% for heavy tanks, 5 for light and medium tanks, and 7 for tank destroyers. The camouflage net is most useful on tanks that have already a very good camo rating and rely on stealthiness for their survival. In other words, using it on a mouse is a waste, but using it for the grill makes a lot more sense. There is still one thing left to tell you, which is really important. At a certain range you will be spotted no matter how much concealment, camping or camouflage you are using. The enemy is just too close to you, so even if your camo rating is through the roof, they will still see you. And then there's a thing called proximity spotting. That means that a vehicle which is within a 50-meter radius of you will always spot you. Even if you are behind a house, under a bridge or up on a hill, you have nowhere to hide. Now that we have everything covered, it's time to give a quick summary. The visibility system relies on view range and concealment. Different tanks have different view ranges and camo factors that you can tweak to your own needs. Good players use the terrain to their advantage when it comes to spotting. And given the right circumstances, you can use the visibility system in World of Tanks Blitz to win more games. My name is martindogger, thank you very much for watching and I'll catch you all on the next video. Cheers and happy tanking!